The history of money is human beings looking for some system that they can use to store and trade value, both with each other and with themselves over time.
Do you see other potential COVID-esque risks that could compromise the rosy story of it growing 200% per year?
It's been growing 200% a year every year for the past 11 years, and you're only going to have 30 years of your life in business. So how long are you going to stare at something which is a screaming successful thing in denial? Peter Schiff has been against Bitcoin. He'd be a billionaire right now. He'd be a 10 billionaire right now if he had actually not been against it. It's been growing 200% a year every year for the past 11 years, and you're only going to have 30 years of your life in business. So how long are you going to stare at something which is a screaming successful thing in denial? Peter Schiff has been against Bitcoin for 10 years. He'd be a billionaire right now. He'd be a 10 billionaire right now if he had actually not been against it. You would lose, by the way, resisting it, you would lose 98 to 99% of your wealth over 5 years if you're in denial of this thing.
Imagine a world where you finally get what Bitcoin is all about. No confusion, no skepticism, just clarity. That's exactly what Michael Saylor delivers in this must-watch video. In his most compelling explanation yet, Saylor breaks down Bitcoin for beginners and anyone struggling to grasp its true value in the global financial system. But it doesn't stop there. He takes on Peter Schiff's misconceptions, offering a sharp critique that's both enlightening and empowering. If you've ever wanted to truly understand Bitcoin and why it's so revolutionary, this is the video that sets you free. As we bring you more clips from the interview, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel to help us reach more viewers. Don't forget to turn on post notifications to stay updated with our latest content. Share your thoughts and observations in the comment section below. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
So there's a cost to being in denial of stuff. Let me just, again, offer an example. You know, like, if you're on an airplane and somebody puts their elbow through a window and it starts depressurizing, and the oxygen gets sucked out of the airplane, and then the oxygen mask drops down from the compartment above, are you going to stare at it and debate with me for like 2 hours about all the black swans and whether or not the oxygen is safe and whether or not you should breathe the oxygen or whether or not you should not breathe the oxygen? Are you going to put the mask on? Like, because it's new. You've never used an oxygen mask in an airplane before. If I take you and I drop you in the middle of the, the ocean and you're 50 feet down with the weight around your neck and I hand you scuba equipment and a regular, are you going to put it in your mouth? Are you going to debate with me and you're going to ask me to twist and try to, what if it's possible that some politician in some country passes some law making it illegal for me to put this regulator in my mouth? It's like, we're really reaching hard here to find a reason to not do the obvious. I want to give you another metaphor. You're at the top of the North Pole. It's 70 degrees. We're all playing Frisbee. There's one heated igloo on the North Pole. There's a guy at the front door. He charges admission, and you can buy a ticket for $1. You don't need the ticket. You like it outside. And then some politician turns down the temperature 10 degrees, and the ticket price goes to $10. You still keep playing, no big deal. And then some politician turns on the temperature another 10 degrees, and the ticket price goes to $100. And you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure. I mean, what's in that igloo? It might be kind of dangerous in that igloo. I think I'll just stay there. So another politician turns on the temperature another 10 degrees, and you're afraid of the igloo. It's dark in there, and maybe it isn't dark, and maybe the food's not so good. And I turn it down another 10 degrees. When it gets to 0 degrees and you're in t-shirt and you start getting bone chilled, the temperature, the price is going to go to $100,000 to get in, and you still don't know whether or not you can get in. But every intelligent person walked through the door before you, and they're fine waving at you saying, it's warm in here, you're going to freeze to death, Brian. And you're still standing there, and the guy cranks the temperature down, and there's a Peter Schiff standing next to you going, I don't think you should go into that heated igloo because it's possible the politicians will pass a law making it illegal or taxing you on that heated igloo. And then the politician cranks it down to minus 40 below. And Peter Schiff is still telling you, man, I don't know if it's safe in that igloo. And all your friends are saying, Brian, you idiot. Why don't you come in here and stop freezing to death? It's fine here. You're going to die. And some dude is still going to, yeah, I know, but they haven't done anything for 14 years. But I don't think, I've never been in an igloo before. I'm afraid. And the point is, every time the Fed or a banker prints 10 or 15% more currency, they are sucking 15% of the energy out of the financial system. That's the same as sucking 15% of the oxygen out of your room. That's the same as lowering the temperature 10 degrees. When I suck the energy out of an adiabatic system, you have heat lapse. You will freeze to death if you don't suffocate. We have a currency collapse going on right now. The only difference is it was going on at 5% a year in the US. Now it's going on at 25% this year. It's going to go on 15% for the next 5 years. Same in Europe. It's collapsing at a faster rate in Argentina, Venezuela, Brazil, Nigeria, South Africa, Turkey, Lebanon, fill in the blank. You can stand there living in fear that someone might hypothetically ask you to stop freezing or, get out of the igloo. But on the other hand, there's 100% likelihood you're going to freeze to death if you stand where you are and do nothing. 100%. There's a 1% likelihood that when you actually move into the heated igloo, something unexpected is going to happen that you did not anticipate, or perhaps someone will object, but you'll be warm. And that is the situation with Bitcoin right now, which is a lot of people are working very hard to come up with some reason why they shouldn't trust a new thing. Meanwhile, it's quite clear that 7.8 billion people on the planet have a problem. Everybody with money on Earth is going to lose half their wealth in the next 48 months if they do nothing. If you're one of the billion people in a collapsing developed economy, you're going to lose everything if you do nothing. The solution is a digital monetary network that doesn't dissipate energy, that you can access where no one can corrupt it, and you can take personal custody of your money, of your monetary energy.
Money's journey is nothing short of an epic saga, from ancient bartering to the rise of digital currencies. Picture early societies trading goods directly, which later evolved into using metals and shells as currency. The invention of coins and then paper money in China revolutionized trade like never before. Fast forward to the Renaissance, where modern banking and the gold standard took center stage, eventually giving way to fiat money. The 20th century ushered in electronic payments, credit cards, and online banking. Now, with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, we're on the brink of another financial revolution. Ready for more? Let's dive back into the video.
Is human beings looking for some system that they can use to store and trade value, both with each other and with themselves over time. And we've used seashells, and we've used glass beads, and we've used gold and silver and copper, and we've used paper that represents gold, and we've used fiat. And we're moving toward using Bitcoin. In terms of scarcity, commodity money is when I use cattle. I mean, I trade you cattle or I trade you wheat. By the way, the early Americans, they used tobacco.
They still do
in
in many
Bay Area.
Yeah, they still do in prison.
They couldn't get money from the Brits, and so they actually traded bales of tobacco. The problem with commodities is that as the price goes up, human ingenuity and technology is incentivized to produce more of it, right? If I can do a thing, if I double the price of tobacco, right, then someone's going to farm more tobacco, right? If I use wood, I'll create more wood. With some commodities, they're really easy to produce. The hardest commodity to produce that also had the characteristics that we wanted for money was gold. I mean, because we needed it to be durable and stable. Like it needs to last 1,000 years, right? Some tobacco doesn't last 1,000 years, right? So some things are hard to produce, but they're not stable at room temperature and not malleable. Other things are very stable, but they're not hard enough to produce. You know, some things aren't subdividable. Something, you know, I have to be able to, you know, I can tell that's gold maybe easier than I can distinguish certain other metals. So mankind decided upon gold, but at the end of the day, anything that is man-made, we can produce more of it. So we mine gold. Gold miners produce about 2% more gold every year. And on average, that's been going on for as long as anybody can remember. That means that if I took all of the money in the world and I bought gold with it, and I had 100% of the gold in the world, 100 years from now, I would have 12.5% of the gold in the world. So if I'm using gold as a store of value, then I'm going to have a 2% inflation rate due to gold mining. If the price of gold stays about the constant level, $2,000 an ounce, you can expect that the amount of gold that gets mined will be 2% more a year, and it's fairly predictable. But if the price of gold were to go to $20,000 an ounce, then you have three perverse incentives that make gold a risky bet. One is 10 times as much incentive for gold miners to produce gold. So there'll be more capital equipment, they'll go faster. They're going to prove out the reserves faster. They're going to work at a higher rate. And they will invent new chemistries and new technologies to mine gold if they have 10x the incentive to do it. Gold is centralized, which means you can hypothecate it and you can sell it short. There's no way for you to be sure that the bank that holds all your gold didn't actually sell the gold twice without telling you. Because you can't reasonably withdraw $100 million of gold and store it underneath your mattress. And so that means that gold has always been plagued by people issuing notes against the gold without enough gold to cover it. The most famous example being Nixon going off the gold standard in 1971 when the United States printed more dollars than they had gold to back it, and they had to actually default on that promise. You have it today. You have lots of examples of banks selling gold short, a naked short, without the gold to back it. And even nation states do it and can do it to manipulate the price however they want. So it's a corruptible thing, and finally it can be seized. Because if you buy enough gold, it has to be centralized in a certain few vaults, and it's very expensive to move. It's not practical for 100 million people to take personal custody of their gold. Whereas if you look at something like Bitcoin is audited every 10 minutes by 10,000 nodes. So it's very challenging, if not impossible, to lie about it. Those 100 million people can take personal custody if they want, because it has no mass. If the price goes to $1 billion, you can't make any more of it. The reason it's scarce is because the protocol, by the way, we have other scarce things in the world. For example, conservation of energy is the first law of thermodynamics and the second and third, and closed thermodynamic systems, they all operate based on scarcity or conservation of energy. And mathematics is based upon the idea that 2 + 2 = 4, not 5 and not 3. I mean, mathematics is conservative in that regard. You take away conservative engineering, your boats don't float, your airplanes won't fly, pneumatic and hydraulic systems don't work, electrical engineering systems fail if you don't have a closed system. The leak destroys them all. So Bitcoin is engineered, it's an engineered monetary network. It is a closed system. The reason it's closed is because the protocol closed it. There's nothing there's no law that says you had to write code to make a crypto network conservative. There are crypto networks where they actually inflate the money supply or inflate the token supply every year.
Right.
There are some that don't have a limit on it, right? Bitcoin happens to be a conservative crypto network because it was designed to be that deflationary currency.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive with Michael Saylor, where he brilliantly breaks down Bitcoin for beginners. Saylor believes that Bitcoin is the ultimate solution to the world's broken money system. He argues that while fiat currencies are losing value through constant debasement, Bitcoin is the game-changing fix we've been waiting for. But we want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts and observations in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.